Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the weekly armchair. I've got a beautiful panel on with me tonight, which is fabulous to see. And this is Devil's Advocate, obviously a Friday night difference this week. But I hope you're all well. I hope your weeks have gone well. And I hope your weekends ahead go well. And obviously, we've got a game to talk about as well. Rachel, good to see you. It's been a long time.
It has.
How are
It's
you,
been
first
lovely.
of all? How's your week been? And yeah.
Yeah, it's been all right. Just a bit busy with everything, like NBA and football coming back and wedding planning and just everything. It's very, very stressful, but I'm
That
good.
sounds
I'm
too
good.
hectic for me. That does. That sounds like a
It is
lot.
very.
Greg, good to see you, buddy. I think it's been a while since you've been on one of my shows as well, but good to have you, mate. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I think you've been avoiding me. I think I've hosted the last three, and you've not been available. So I think you've just been. Minute I said I
Probably
wasn't
why.
hosting. Minute I said I wasn't
Probably
hosting.
why.
You're like, oh, I'll do it. No, I'm not
So,
bad. I'm all right.
sorry, buddy.
I'm off for
I
three
promise
days
you
now,
that's not coincidental. I promise you.
so good.
Vicky, great to see you on. How are you feeling? How was your week?
I'm feeling fantastic. Yeah.
Good to hear. And Stuart, you've migrated across tonight, which is really, really good to see. I hope you're well, buddy. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right, actually. Not too bad. Not too bad. Looking forward to the weekend.
Good. I like the positivity. So, the news breaking yesterday, Bruno Fernandes has signed a new 5-year deal. So obviously we're going to touch upon that. I've seen lots of Bruno Fernandes slander recently, undeserved. I'm glad you're rolling the eyes, Greg. I want to see that when we talk about it in a moment. But it's a 5-year deal and a 5-year deal well deserved, don't you think, Rach?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that he's going through. Well, I wouldn't even call it a slump. It's just a little bit less productive than last season. He's just not. The slander is just. It's just laughable what you see on the timeline nowadays. That's why I just choose to ignore it. Like, I'm hardly ever on social media anymore because it's just full of crap. No, it's very well deserved, and to build a team around Bruno will be great going forward. Obviously, with the new manager, whoever that may be, he could have had an input in the new deal. You never know. But no, fully well deserved, and can't wait for a few more years of the Magnifico.
Yeah, absolutely. Portuguese Magnifico, absolutely. And Stu, talking about this very quickly, obviously we don't know who the new manager is. Lots of debate who that's going to be. Probably one of three people that's been obviously touted more than others. With this in mind, do you think that we have an idea of who the next manager is going to be, and do you think Bruno is going to be a pivotal part in that?
Yeah, look, we definitely have an idea who it's going to be. I won't be surprised if it's not announced to the players next week. It doesn't need to be announced to us, but to the players. And I would suggest that Bruno will be pivotal in terms of his contract. I actually would have left it till the summer. I didn't think it needed to be done now. I don't kind of understand why it's being done now, but as kind of the team, whoever we bring in, whoever that may be, if it's a Ten Hag, if it's Pochettino, whoever, then I'd imagine that Bruno will be the pivotal point. For me, we need to remove the likes of Pogba out of the system. I think we need to remove possibly McTominay out of the system. For me, Bruno is better as a floating player, maybe a 10, maybe an 8, but he certainly needs to be the pivotal point for what we do moving forward, and however the new manager wants to go moving forward. And what he does with that will be quite interesting to see. So I think whoever comes in, if he removes 6 players out of the equation, brings in 4, but players that complement Bruno, I think it's the way forward. But should have been given a contract extension now, I'd have waited till the summer. I don't see the difference in waiting 2 months.
Yeah, it's 6 of one, half a dozen. I think you're absolutely right, though. I think we probably should wait until the summer, but this is why I tend to sort of lean towards probably knowing who the manager may be. And I think with what he's done in the last 2.5 years, it's absolutely deserved. 5-year deal, probably on 250 grand a week, but he absolutely deserves that. Probably one of the only players at the club. Vicky, are you happy that he signed a new contract?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I actually think it's a really good time to have done his contract because it's kind of showing to, it's keeping him happy, and he is like one of the ones with the most emotion on the pitch right now to show that he wants to be there. Also at the same time, it was an international break. It's not that they weren't doing much else because they weren't interviewing except from on Mondays, it seems. I think it's trying to show how committed some players are to entice the manager that they want. Which I still don't think we know what they want.
No, you're absolutely right. Good points, well made. And Greg, you rolled your eyes earlier when I mentioned about slander towards Bruno. Talk to me.
I just don't get it. Like, I saw a lot of people that are like, "Oh, who knows if the manager wants to keep, like, the new manager wants to keep Bruno Fernandes?" It's like, do you really think Man United have been conducted interviews over the last 6 weeks and they've not gone, "Oh, we're thinking about giving, our best player over the last 18 months a new contract worth more money to tie him in. What do you think about that?" And B, like, there's very few managers in the world that are going to Bruno Fernandes, that guy that's got loads of goals and loads of assists. Nah, I don't want him. Like, I just don't get it. You pay him what he's worth, and he's been worth his weight in gold to Man United over the last 18 months, 2 years now, that he's been with us. So you pay him what he's worth. And if his agent and if him if they're the ones that initiate the talks and gone, "I want more money, I want a new contract," you pay him. You pay him and you deal with it later. And also, I think it probably helps not wait until the summer because Man United now know exactly what they've got laid out in terms of expenditure. They don't have to factor anything else, like everything there in terms of like, these are the players we've got on the books. All we've got now to come is like money coming in from wages, obviously dropping off with players leaving, and then if we somehow manage to sell players. But yeah, I think it was a good time to do it. I agree with what Vicky was saying, that he deserves to be paid what he wants, and I think he should be getting more than the players he was earning less than.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely spot on. Just want to say a number of you watching, a few of you on Twitter, quite a few of you on Twitter, come over to youtube.com/weekly armchair, get your comments in. We can't see those comments. We'd love to read them out. But yeah, very good points, well made. I can see sort of both sides of the coin, actually. There were potential worries about Bruno. I think because we've become so used to him and what impact he's brought, we're frightened of losing the man. And regardless of having 2.5 years left on his deal, you want to tie him down. And I think that was always going to be a conversation. So I'm pleased they've done it more than anything. I don't think, Stu, I think you're on mute, bro. Or I can't hear you. Sorry, go on. Just about.
I don't know why. Look, what I was saying is, why should you be frightened of losing any particular player? Football's about squad. It's not about a single player. It's about a squad of players. Look, Bruno deserves everything he gets. I'm not saying he doesn't. And timing, just for me, it just doesn't make sense. But you should never be losing a player. One team, Bruno doesn't make Manchester United. Okay, 11 players make Manchester United. Squad of players make Manchester United. It isn't just Bruno. As much as Bruno's done for us, he is having a drop off in form just like everyone else, and he does have to pull his finger out. It will be interesting to see how he performs over the last 9 games that we've got, or 8 games that we've got. You should never, ever, ever in professional football be afraid to lose a player. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. On his dip in form, personally for me, I don't class it as a dip in form. Actually, no. I think his numbers this season have been lower, but you've found that he's been playing further back, been playing deeper, collecting the ball from further back, and it's a bit like Pogba at Juventus. He was playing more of a free role on that left-hand side, and he was deemed as this flair player because he was getting you all those goals and assists. Now, the numbers at United, and I'm not going to talk about Pogba for long, I'm just making a point, are very, very similar, but because that they weren't quite the same or not as impact as before, he wasn't deemed that flair player, and therefore the comparisons are made. But I'm obviously incredibly over the moon about Bruno signing. Go on, Vicky.
49 goals and like 38 assists, and he's a midfielder, so he does he makes action happen. So
absolutely, I think I read a stat the other day: 130 goals and assists for club and country since he's joined United. I think something astronomical. I'm sure that was when he joined United or the last 2.5 years, something like that. But absolutely.
And with his wage cap, I mean, we're about to lose a lot of wages, so I'm quite happy to have someone who actually does want to be on that pitch actually get paid that amount, because it's Man United money, so it's not like we can talk about being the same level as Liverpool and stuff and them actually want to keep a wage cap. It's Man United. You're never going to get the wages that are so small ever.
Yeah,
It's always been that way from
the United. Player that much money as well. Like, we're really good at giving untalented players a lot of money. Like, the fact we're now giving it to a talented player, and I think Bruno sort of encompasses everything that's right about Man United right now. Obviously, we're not playing well, but in terms of the attitude and the way that you can see desperately wants to win, and he wants to win with Man United. And that's what we need more of. We need 11 players that would run through a wall for Man United, because right now we don't have it. And for as long as Bruno is as annoying it is when he moans and everything like that, and he gets booked for dissent or anything, it's because he wants to win and he really cares. I'd take that over someone that sort of lets games pass by him any day of the week.
The thing is, as well, the system has changed so much this year from last year when he was absolutely, banging them in and, assisting galore. The system has changed. We've obviously brought on a massive name in Ronaldo, and obviously everything is, funneled, through that kind of avenue. We've also lost players that he was playing with last year. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't believe in giving him any airtime, but we've lost a lot of players that were deep in the system. So I feel like he just needs time to adapt back into the way of system. And obviously there's going to be a new system going forward with the new manager, whoever that may be. I agree. I do think the players have been told, or they will be told, or they have an idea of who's going to be coming in, and how they're going to build this team around, and who they're going to build the team around, and who is going to be let go. So I think we'll have a lot of clarity in the next few weeks, and a busy I was going to say off season, busy transfer season.
Still got basketball in the head.
I've still got American terminologies in the head, but a busy transfer market. Yeah.
Well, I very much look forward to the off season, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, talking about Bruno, just very quickly, I want to talk about him a bit more. Obviously, lots of talk. Greg was talking about the passion that he brings and the kind of desire that he brings. Now, whilst I personally don't feel that he's captain material, you're absolutely right, Greg. He's exactly the type of player you need in and around the team. And if you've got players like that wanting to stay at United, wanting to win for the team and winning, with trophies in mind going forward, that's only a benefit to Manchester United. I just hope that they can get this summer. We're talking about track record and how deflated we've been, and we seem to go through this rigmarole every bloody year. But I just hope that they start to make the right decisions, and they really need to do that now. I know we say this all the time, but they really, really need to do that now. And talking about that, I'll come back to you, Stu. You mentioned that there are a number of players that we need to get rid of. Absolutely right. Obviously, a lot of players are coming to the end of their contracts, but previously, we've struggled to get rid of players. We've struggled to offload. We're probably holding out for a particular deal, and United aren't, thinking clever enough. What makes you think, or do you think, that we can offload the players in the summer?
Look, I think there's occasionally you've got to cut your losses on players. I think there's quite a few players that need the contracts cancelling, terminating, whichever way you want to say it. I'd move Matter up into the coaching role. I'd probably move Matic out. I'd move Jones out. And I'd cancel these contracts. I'd cancel them. I'd go to them. I'd offer them a payoff, and I'd cancel them. You've got to make room for everybody who's to come in, or you've got to get what I class as workmanlike players. We need workmanlike players more than anything. You can sprinkle anything with stardust, but if you don't have a good workmanlike body, you'll never win any football matches. And when you look at up and down, whether you look at City, whether you look at Liverpool, whether you look at Barcelona, the bulk of their squad, as talented as it may be, are workmanlike footballers, and that's what we need. So whoever we bring in, whoever the manager is, whatever he wants to do, you can talk about formations as much as you like. If you don't have the players that can adapt and apply what he's trying to teach you on the training ground and what you're trying to do on the training ground, it's an irrelevant to it. And so this comes back to our point about Bruno, is what you do with him and how you play him. Where you position him is then where you position the rest of the unit around him. And so we've got issues all over the park. We've got goalkeeping issues, we've got centre half issues, we've got fullback issues, we've got midfield issues. We've got issues all over.
It comes down to the smaller list of what issues haven't we got?
Yeah.
and that's just it. I've mentioned the goalkeeper before. I have. My feelings on Bahia. I've mentioned our fullbacks before, the positional problems that they've got. We know where our issues lie in midfield. One player, Bruno, can't do it all by himself. So just need whatever we do moving forward. If you're going to use them as a focal point, you've got to make sure the signings that you bring in, or the kind of youth that you promote, or adapt actually. We don't have enough players that want to adapt to certain positions. We don't have any on-field coaching. These are types of players that we're going to need to bring in to really expand our team, and hopefully, if whoever it may be has got that nous, that common sense, because that's all it is. It's common sense. It won't take 3 years for us to win trophies. It could take 18 months for us to really be in a position where we can start challenging. So that's what we're looking at. It's not all about who's going to sell me 1 million shirts. It's all about who can play football and play time.
Yeah, I think Bruno. I think the fact that he has, obviously, people say that he's had a form drop off, and I agree with Marc. The fact that he's dropped back, he's had to play a lot more deep. I think he's been a victim of sort of our shortcomings this year as well, because when we were playing poorly under Ollie, it would be Bruno's hero ball type play that would get us out of it. He'd score the goal, he'd get the assist. And it's the fact that he knows that he can do it at that level, that every time that we get into a spot where we're behind, you saw it against Atletico, Bruno starts picking up the ball and just starts trying to put it in from random places. He's having shots. He's picking up the ball left back, right back, anywhere, because he believes that he really believes himself that, yeah, this is my team. I can do this. I've done it before. And he just needs a little bit of help. And then again, I think he needs that little bit of coaching to just be like, just to tail it back, that you don't need to go into hero ball mode as soon as you go behind. Although I will say in both legs, both times when Bruno came off, we were a lot worse. So I still think he's our best player, but I think when a coach comes in, a top coach who has a system and wants to play, he's going to utilize Bruno Fernandes to his best, but also we're not going to get this hero ball out of him every time we go behind, which doesn't stunt our play. It gets the ball forwards, just not in the most efficient way.
Yeah, good points, well made. And I was going to ask you actually, Greg. Obviously, he's been playing. I think Ralph's tried to instill him as more of a number 8 this season, and I think he's actually made comments on that. I think he's actually done a pretty decent job. He plays there for Portugal, does a great job, scored 2 goals the other day. Where do you think he best fits? And I know this is without the new manager in mind, but at the moment, where do you think he fits? Because I feel that with Ten Hag coming in, for example, he likes his philosophy, and he will look, and he won't like this, but a player like Van der Beek to play in the number 10 role, because he finds those pockets of space, he creates space, whereas Bruno is more of a ball carrier. But where do you think he probably fits best, and maybe going forward as well?
I think in this system as an 8, with Fred as sort of being like the other 8, seems to be his best position. I think they play really well together. I think Fred surprised a lot of people with how much he's actually good going forward and how comfortable he is on the ball in attacking positions.
Yeah, he's been brilliant.
I think he's been really good. I think a lot of people backed Fred to be good under Rangnick, but it was more for his work rate and his willingness to win the ball back, and the fact that he'd run through a wall. It wasn't the fact that
I think just very quickly, buddy. I think there was some stats to suggest that Fred is our best presser, followed by Pogba, and they would thrive. Believe it or not, under Ralph, and he's certainly shown that, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think Fred. No one had an issue about Fred's pressing. Like, if the reason Man City wanted Fred is because Fred is one of these players that, if you can afford to have one player whose one job is to intercept and then carry the ball forward, because we know Fred's comfortable on the ball and he's very good at intercepting. It's his positional play, and when he gets the ball in the back foot, that's when he really struggles. The reason Man City wanted him is because they had a player like Fernandinho who would tackle and win the ball back, but anything on the transition, they'd have a player like Fred who would run through a wall to win the ball back and then be able to carry it forward as well. And I think him and Bruno playing together, they really complement each other well. I think Fred and Ronaldo weirdly complement each other well. When Ronaldo drops deep, Fred seems to run beyond him. It's really strange. But I think they complement each other well. And then on the Donny thing, I think that Van de Beek would fit the system if it wasn't in the Premier League. I don't think Donny's position exists in the Premier League, because you don't get teams that sit 25 yards, 20 yards up the pitch to find the half spaces. You're playing teams like Burnley, Newcastle, Brighton, Tottenham, even under Conte. You're playing teams with 5 and 3, like 5 at the back that sit deep, and there's not those little half spaces to run into, which is why I think Bruno's the better player in that system. But absolutely, I think Donny will get another fair crack of the whip if Ten Hag comes in, but I just don't think that position that he plays exists in the Premier League. It exists in the Eredivisie in France, but not many other places do you get teams that sit so far forward and are so susceptible to counter-attacks.
Yeah, good points well made. Good comment here by Marco Gianni. I hope I said your name right. I think the biggest thing this season has been the lack of runners for Bruno to find. I think the creativity has been lacking. I think that's a pretty fair point. Yeah, good point there, buddy. Vicky, Bruno, best number 10 in the world for you?
Yeah, I'm going to always say that because you've got to support your number 10. So, I will say when it comes to Bruno, even just like he has got that frustrating part where he's almost got the similar issue with like Rashford, where he either goes too far forward or then he's going too far back. And I really, and then his emotions overtake, and then he gets a bit whingy. But then I also feel like he lost a lot when Ollie went, and I don't really want to talk about Ollie too much because I know what happens in the comments.
You'll upset Greg.
But yeah, I think that really took a toll on him, and then everybody sort of just died down. And I think the conversation like I had last night was people saying, "Oh, Man United just given up now." And they gave up at Christmas. I'm not entirely sure Bruno was that person, because I'm pretty sure if, like he says, for 2.5 years, I'm still walking out on the pitch and it gives him goosebumps. He wanted to be on that pitch at least one point in his life, and he's getting to do it for another 5 years.
Yeah,
so.
Great stuff. Marco, love these stats, mate. I'd love to know what these stats represent and what they're out of. But looking at them, obviously, they kind of make a bit of sense on who puts those pressures up. So, yeah, if you can give me that information, that'd be fab. Listen, Bruno, for me, I think has been absolutely sensational. Probably the best signing that's come in since Robin van Persie. And has been absolutely sensational. And listen, I see so much slander from the usual suspects on Bruno, and I think they need to wind the neck in, okay? He's a number 10 that's going to take risks. And when you take risks, it's a risk for a reason. You're going to lose the ball, you're going to misplace passes, but he's the only one that drives the ball forward, and I think he's an absolutely tremendous player, and I think you can play him in an array of positions, which Greg alluded to earlier, and I think he's a real acquisition for whoever that future manager is going to be. Vicky, did you want to say something?
Yeah, do you think he was the best January signing Man United's ever done?
Maybe. I think in this last decade where it's been so poor, definitely. But I think Vidic and Evra certainly are up there. I think probably those two are even better. I mean, at that point, we were in transition. We were struggling defensively, brought Evra and Vidic in, and it completely changed our season from that point forward. So Bruno's been sensational, but it's very difficult to make a comparison against the other signings we've had.
I'd say give him a few more. I would say give him a few more years, maybe, because obviously you've got Vidic and Evra, who are absolute legends. They've cemented their you know, their positions in this club, and what they've done for this club has been absolutely outstanding. With all due respect to Bruno, obviously he's not achieved anything at United yet, and that's not me slandering him because I'm one of the biggest fans of Bruno, but it's just stating a fact that he's not achieved anything yet. Obviously, like he said in his interviews and on Twitter today, and he was very active, that the best is yet to come, and I truly believe that. Truly believe that the best is yet to come from Bruno. So I think definitely I'd put Vidic and Evra before him in terms of longevity and, you know, stature of those signings. But who knows whether we're having this conversation in another, you know, 5 to 7 years, and then we're saying Bruno signed another contract and we're on our way to our 5th title. So
if we haven't won a title, I'm not talking about Man United in 5 to 7 years. I can't do it much longer.
I mean, that's the only other question I would have is, like, who else do you see in this team right now that's going to be there with Bruno in that 5-year period? Well, not
Sancho.
everyone.
Sancho.
Because that's all we've got.
Yeah.
Elanga.
Yeah, Elanga maybe. Stu, you got any ideas there, mate?
I would have gone Sancho, maybe Elanga. The jury's out for me on Elanga just at the minute, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's still early on Elanga, but
you're right. I mean, Greg, I'll take your point on Elanga, but he's just shown his youth, isn't he? He's just shown his youth, which you can accept and I can accept.
Yeah.
He's got real potential. I just hope he doesn't lose his way. He needs somebody around him that can coach him on the field as well. And we really don't have that. As good as Ronaldo is, great focal point for us. Cavani again, you know, when he can be bothered to play, which is a real shame, but a good focal point for us. You know, he can learn from these types of players. But we just need 2 or 3 really experienced pros to help kick us on for the next few. But I take your point about Elanga. Just at this point, he just needs to maybe find his way back again. But he's a cracking prospect. He really is. He's a proper number 9.
He's at that age now as well, where he's getting to play at an age now where making mistakes is acceptable and it's fine. Yeah. And this is where he can make the mistakes and people can let him off and go, oh, it's fine because look how young he is. He's trying things. I think that's maybe where the patience has ran out on someone like Rashford, because it still feels like he's in that learning process. It feels like this is a really long learning curve. And I think if Elanga can kick on past this, I'm not saying he's going to be a top player. He might not even make it at Man United, but he's got the opportunity and he's certainly got the potential, and he's clearly liked by the coaches and things like that, to be in and around that squad. Whether that changes when the new manager comes in, I'm not sure, but he really's got an opportunity now to make mistakes when he's really young and then learn from it and then kick on and hopefully make a claim to be part of that squad moving forward.
You've spoken about a particular player, which leads me perfectly into my next topic. But I just want to say to everyone in the chat, please get your great conversations already, obviously, but get your likes, subscribe as well, and get some more questions and conversations coming in for us. We want to obviously go through those. But my next topic, fortunately, Marcus Rashford. It's such a difficult one, isn't it? I was actually talking to a relative of mine today, and we had a deep discussion about it. And I think he was right in saying it's difficult. Again, we don't truly know, but all of the off-field stuff that he's done, which have been wonderful, wonderful things, I think have just got under his skin one way or another, and has really not helped him this season. Listen, we know the player he can be and what he's done, the goals he scored, when he burst onto the scene. For some reason, one reason or another this season, it's just not quite worked out for him. But Rachel, I'll come to you first on this one. What are your feelings towards Marcus at the moment? There's been lots of talk about potentially he not being happy. I think that was debunked the other day, but there could be talks about him maybe leaving. I read months ago, again, don't know how true it is, that United actually have thought about selling him at some stage. Don't see him as here in 10 years' time, maybe slightly less than that. But what are your thoughts?
No chance. I'm sorry. No one can sit here and tell me that he's leaving Man United under the next 3 to 5 years. I genuinely think he will be fine. I've said this before, and I've been trolled for this before, but he will be fine. It's just my opinion. I think he's had a lot going on. His off-field stuff with the government, and obviously he had injuries that he was playing through, the operation surgery. Everything's been going against him recently. I know he's nowhere near the form that he should be and the form that we are used to seeing from Rashford from, previous seasons, about 2 seasons ago. But he will be fine. And, that's just my opinion. I genuinely think he is a great talent. He's got the desire to want to play for United. He's a United lad. He's a Manchester boy, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's fair points there. Greg, you're chewing a wasp in the corner, and I know you've got lots
I really disagree completely with Rach, but I couldn't disagree with that more. I don't think I was having conversations with family members. I'm sure it's on Twitter. You'll find it somewhere. I don't know what else you'll find, but you'll certainly find something on Twitter from a few years ago saying that I don't think Rashford's good enough. I thought he was an exceptional teenager, and I think since then he's dropped off. I think there's only so long you can get away with the argument. He knows what it means. He's from the area. It doesn't make you a good footballer. It doesn't make you Premier League level. It doesn't make you Man United level. And I think he gets he gets a free pass from that. And then I think a lot of the comments coming out recently, whether it's leaked by his team, whether it's just journalists, it makes him sound so whiny, and it makes him sound like it just sounds like he carries himself with some sort of swagger that he's untouchable and that he can't be dropped in. How dare he be dropped for someone like and I just don't get it, because he's not played to any sort of standard that you'd expect from a Premier League player in the last 18 months. I think he's been awful. And like I said earlier on when we were talking about Alanga, I think he's had the biggest learning curve I've ever seen of a young footballer coming out of Man United. He makes the same mistakes now at 23, 24 that he did at 18. And it just doesn't make sense. So clearly something's not, and you can't say it's the coach, because he's worked under 3 different coaches with 3 varied levels of ability. So I rarely disagree with Rich, but I don't think he'll be at Man United in 2 years' time, let alone 5. I think the one massive advantage Man United have selling him, he's English. And the fact that he's English, we'll get an extra 15, 20 million for him. But I just don't think he's good enough. And I think he does get a big pass from a lot of Man United fans because he knows what it means. And Man United need to move away from this, know what it means, because because it doesn't do anything nowadays. You look at the top teams and even in the Premier League, City and Liverpool, they've just got elite players with elite coaches that play in the best system. And okay, you've got a sprinkling of someone like Trent, but he's a talented player going forward, less so going backwards. But the players that really took Liverpool to that next level aren't players that know what it means and are from the area. It's players like Virgil van Dijk, who's elite, Alisson, who's elite, Mo Salah, who's elite. And I just don't think that. I think if Man United want to move on from this turgid era of getting so close and then having to rebuild again, they need to move away from this. Oh, he's one of our own, so we'll give him a million chances to fail, despite showing that he doesn't have the capability or ability to play at that level, and just be a bit more cutthroat and be a bit more like, we're going to go and get the best player from this position. Because apparently, I was listening to the Athletic podcast this week on Man United, and when they bought Sancho to play on the left. Sancho wasn't bought to play on the right. So that shows you exactly what they sort of thought. So they were going to push Rashford out on the right because Rashford showed absolutely no capability of playing on the right last year. So it makes you think, who was going to go play on the right? Was the plan always to bring Alanga in? Was it to, who knows what it was? But clearly they thought Rashford's best position's on the left and we needed a player that's better than him on the left. So I think that says a lot about where Man United think Rashford's ability is, and I think the latest comments that have come out and things that are being leaked or said about him, it just makes him sound like he's speaking about, he thinks he's better than he is. And I just think he needs to sort of bring it back to basics and try and sort of revive his career, otherwise he's going to be eclipsed by either new signings or younger players.
There you go. The jury's very much out so far. One apiece. Stu, just to remind you, you're on mute, mate. But what are your thoughts on those, on what Rach and Greg have said?
Yeah, look, I can see both points of view actually, and I don't sit on the fence on anything, mate. As you well know, I'm very opinionated. I'm struggling with this one. I really am. Look, the only person who can play himself out of this issue that he's got is himself. He's the one that's got to look at himself every day and decide what he wants from his life. Does he want to play football? Does he want to represent England at Qatar? Or does he want to do off-field stuff? He's the only one that can do it. Now, I don't know whether or not he stays behind and does a couple of hours extra training. I don't know whether he goes to the analytics department and says, look, I'm facing Lucadinha. What's the best way about getting around him? I don't know whether he's practicing his crossing, whether he's practicing his sprinting anymore. I don't know whether he's got that will and that desire to want to play football anymore. And that's my biggest dilemma with him. He is relatively talented. I think he's shown in the past that he's talented. I think, Greg, I tend to agree with you, mate. Sancho was brought in to play on the left. He really was. So, you're pushing Rashford out on the right. But it's all right having a talent if you can't utilise it. For me, when he stopped attacking the diagonal, if you remember a couple of years ago when he was playing alongside Martial, they both got 20 goals apiece. They both attacked the diagonal of the 18-yard box. We were brilliant at it. We were causing defenders so many problems. Hence, I don't know, what did we get? 15 penalties that season, 16 penalties, something along those lines. Because what he was doing, he was making the defender make a choice on whether to tackle him or not. And when you've got that kind of player, and as a defender, when you've got somebody rushing along, at you like that, you do have to make a decision what to do. But he's lost all of that. He's lost his ability. He seems to have lost his mojo for whatever reason. So, yeah, for once, I'm kind of on the fence on this, and I don't know what I'd do with him if I'm being brutally honest with you, guys.
Yeah.
Do you not think that? Sorry, Mark, cut you off.
No, you're right. Carry on.
Do you not think that the excessive hate that our players get, and I'm talking specifically about Marcus and Harry Maguire, do you not think that the specific hate that they are constantly, and I mean it's literally constant, if you go on any of their posts, it doesn't matter if it's not about football or whether it's about Mother's Day or something, there is constant hate on all their social media. Now, I know that
Rashford's number 2 in the world for the most hate towards an athlete.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But do you not think that contributes to form? Because if someone was sitting in my job and telling me that I'm shit at my job and that I will never amount to anything, it would have a massive impact on my mental health and my performance, because that's just, it's not nice constantly having criticism over and over again. It's like a boyfriend constantly talking down to you. It's just like, it's constant hate that I think that he's got in his own head. And it's the same with Harry Maguire as well. I mean, we were talking before, Mark, about Harry Maguire and how he had a good season. He had a very, very solid season for us. And now, ever since the Euros and ever since his incident in Greece, he's been shite, basically. He's not been good at all. He's had a disastrous season. And he's in his own head as well. But so is Marcus. I just feel like they just need to get out of their own heads and focus on the football. Get away from this PR stuff. Because I said on Twitter the other day that you should just get away from social media, block it out, don't go on it, and let your football do the talking. If you're going to put in those extra hours, put in the extra hours. You're going to do more tactical analysis in the opposition to see how you can get at them. Do it and let your feet and your football do the talking, not what you write on social media after a game when you've just been smacked 5-0 by your biggest rivals. It's just that those are the things that piss people off, and those are the things that fuel more hate towards them, because they are active on social media, or their teams are active on social media. So if, you've got players like Scott McTominay, he's very rarely on social media. You've got players that never really post on social media, and you'll find that they thrive more because they probably don't they probably do see it, but they probably don't see it as much as players like, you know, Harry Maguire or Marcus Rashford, who is very, very active. Now, I understand that Rashford does kind of have to be active because of the activism and everything that he does with like the government and all that, but keep that separate. Just leave the football out of social media because it's a toxic, toxic place, and he just needs to get out of his own head and just concentrate on his football.
I think you're right. I mean, look, in my playing days, if I was having a bad time, I used to like playing the villain. So wherever I was at home or away, I used to like playing the villain. But I had to play my own way out of my slumps. I mean, I was terrible. You know, if I didn't win the first header in a match, 15, 20 minutes of that game, I'll be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew what I needed to do at any given time during the match. But playing the villain for me kind of brought out a different type of player, a different type of person. And it enabled me to block out what was going on. You know, I can have 90,000 people screaming at me, I have 1,000 people screaming at me. And it's still the same thing. You've got to learn to block us out of it. I think exactly the point that you say, right? So I think social media today is extremely toxic. I don't really interact that much on Twitter because I can't be asked with morons. I really can't be bothered with morons. I've got a very, very low tolerance for an idiot. You know, so I don't interact so much with that. What I like about what Rashford does is what he stands for. I really like what he stands for. And as a human being, you can't really argue with anything. I just hope he can find his way back. And that's why I got this issue with, I think he is a good, talented footballer, but he's just lost his way slightly. But if he has lost his way slightly, I think he's lost it for the right reasons because he's doing things for the right reasons. He's not in the news for like some other players for whatever reason. He's in it for the right reasons. So I just hope he can find his way back. That's kind of I'm struggling with it.
Yeah,
I get that.
Well,
I get. I also get what Rach says in terms of like social media affecting your performance and comparing it to be. But like when you're a Premier League footballer and you're a footballer at this level, like you open yourself up to that.
Yeah.
And you've got to sort of. I'm not saying what the abuse and things that they get is right or anything like that. But when you are on that, once you open yourself up to that sort of criticism because you're an athlete at that level and you are on social media, you don't really have the excuse of like, well, people say nasty things to me online because you choose to be on there. And I don't think, I think you've got like, it's not like these people suddenly, like these players suddenly get to an elite level and then they get a Twitter account and suddenly everyone abuses them straight away. It's not how it works. I think Rashford obviously got a lot of hate from the government side of things and has got a lot of hate from the last couple of years with his performance. Maguire since Greece as well, I think has really struggled. But the way that I think it's different to me and you and us having abuse and getting abuse personally is we don't open ourselves up to be on that level. We're not figures we're not in the public eye like that. And I get that it's going to completely affect mental health, and that's not good. But that's why the club, if I don't know if they do, should have people in place for that. Like these institutions should have people that to help with mental health, to help with psychology and things like that. Because the minute you're on that level, you're opening yourself up to that. Because you can absolutely guarantee if Man United won a Champions League, they would be all over social media, posting photos left, right and centre, which...
Yeah, whether they like it or
everywhere.
not, and whether it's right or wrong. You're right, they're opening themselves up to it. And we brought a psychologist in, didn't we, in the summer?
Yeah, we did.
So what happened?
Fat lot of good he's done.
Well, we don't know that. We might have told Fred he was brilliant, and now Fred's like Messi. So, like,
can I just say, when it comes to the platform area of social media, he should be just doing exactly like the likes of Varane, David De Gea, and Harry Maguire. To be fair, they have a PR system. I think the only time that Harry Maguire has ever really interjected with his stuff is when he's really thought about it. But I don't think he personally looks at it. And most of the players don't do their own Instagram. They don't really do their own Twitter anymore.
No one does. But you can just with one search on Twitter on their burner accounts, because you know that they have burner accounts, right? Every sports athlete has an account that has like 2 followers or something, where they go on and they search themselves and they see what people are saying, or they go under the big accounts on Twitter, the big United accounts, and they see what people are saying about them. So I think social media is just a massive part of society nowadays that you can't really get away from it. And I do agree with you that they all have their PR teams, and none of the stuff that they write is true or is really them. Apart from, when Bruno did his Q&A this morning, I believe that was him, because he sat down and he's scheduled that, because obviously with his new deal and everything and all that stuff, he's clearly sat down, he's scheduled that he's going to have time with the fans. And that was him. But these posts like, oh, really sorry about the loss, we'll do better next time. That's a scheduled tweet. That's a scheduled tweet.
Like,
they see that we're losing at half time and then they type it out just to get it ready for full time.
Get it ready.
Well, it's
we're
true.
1-0 up. Might as well have one pre-typed, because we'll chuck a goal in. So
exactly.
Rashford tweeted while he was still on the pitch. But what I will say is that he doesn't write the books with Rashford. But he does put his name down and his brand down, because that's what the next step is for him. It's feeding them and then educating them. That's what he's like. Obviously, that's what he's doing for his platform. It also makes me believe that how much then Rashford will stay in this country if he does move on, because of that, wanting to keep that English platform going. Because I naturally thought if he was going to go to something like Barcelona or something. But yeah, definitely now I think the interview that he done for Webby, because I was meant to go to it, but I went somewhere else, and he what was it? Ray Rooney was saying that he likes Rashford. He's a Man United boy. He should be a United boy. He's just got to get his ass out of gear. And I just feel like he's got so much overwhelmed with himself that he's still not even going back to the basics, and that's exactly what he should be doing. But then another time I think, oh, is he actually just thinking about Qatar? Like I think when it comes to Shaw, Maguire, Rashford and Ronaldo, because they're not in Champions League now, to me they're not, that they're focusing on their World Cup, because obviously England did really well, and so
not well enough though.
Shut up, Greg.
Behave.
So when I look at
it's one against 4 here, bro. So be very careful.
I know. I realise how outnumbered I am. But
can I just say, the draw today was very interesting, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get one of Scotland or Wales.
Yeah, I can't wait to absolutely slap you.
Yeah.
Fighting talk tonight, guys. It's obviously been a tough Friday for everybody by the sounds of it.
I'm going to dip out, guys, because I don't think people can hear me and that. So
no worries, buddy. No, listen, honestly, thanks for coming on, buddy. Always good to see you and hear you. And for everyone, tomorrow night we're doing the reaction on Talk of the Devils, and Stu is going to be on there, and we want to see you in there. And obviously, yeah, cheers. Have a great night, mate, and thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
See you later, mate.
Bye.
But if I could just say that something happens like in my head, thinking Ronaldo switched off, that he's now thinking, do you know what? I'm not gonna get Champions League next year. I'm just gonna go win the World Cup instead. And then I think also when it comes to the England players, where they feel unhappy because they are expressing how unhappy they are, that they will be wanting to go for the World Cup.
Everyone has their eye on the World Cup, though. You can tell that people I think the fact that Jesse Lingard didn't leave last summer is madness, because he's massively had a massive detriment on his chances to get into the World Cup squad, because when he was playing with West Ham, he was right there. He was playing so well, and because of I don't know why, obviously he didn't leave, but he obviously didn't leave, and now he's got no chance of getting in because he's not playing for his club. And even if he does leave for West Ham or even a lower opposition like Newcastle, he's got no chance. So he's had a massive detriment on his chances. But everyone has their eyes on the World Cup. It's one of the biggest prizes in football.
I don't think that's always been true, especially like in Ronaldo's period of time and all those England players then. They were just like, we can't keep up to the expectation. They gave it a try, but it wasn't the most exciting thing for them to go through. So I think so more now than back I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago, personally.
Yeah, good points well made. It's a very touchy subject, isn't it, really? We were talking about this backstage, as Rach said, and you have to be very, very careful. Everybody is open to criticism, but there's a very, very fine line, and I see too much awful negativity, and it crosses the line, and I think it's awful. And I'd go as far as, and I know that everyone won't agree with me, you're wrong, but if you boo your players, I think that's wrong. I really do. And someone mentioned it earlier, I think it was you, Rach. We even in our jobs, we're not in the limelight. Imagine how embarrassing it would be to be completely ridiculed by everybody that's so visible. And do you know what I mean? That would be terrible. I mean, it's bad enough when you get into a bit of trouble at work. Yeah? If it's in front of everybody in the country, in the world, Christ almighty. I never get in trouble at work, by the way, just to make that very clear. No, but anyway, listen, good conversation. Good to see you, Trevor. I'm off, Mark. Keep up the magnificent work. Thank you very much, buddy. And keep that beard trim. He always puts in beard comments, and I didn't know it was there until that. That wasn't on purpose, I can assure you. So last but not least, we're going to talk about a long overdue and awaited United game. It kicks off tomorrow at 5:30 against Leicester, who are, 16 points behind us, Rach, in 10th position, not in a good run of form at all. Started off the season very well. Listen, we can talk about all form all we want. United have been terrible all season, but it might give us a little bit of ray of hope. But Rachel, what are your thoughts on tomorrow? Do you think it was a break that we needed? It's certainly a 3 points that we need. We have to fight for that top 4, which puts us in a bit of a difficult position, because if we don't pick up enough points, and we're probably going to be in Europa, we don't want that. We want to be 4th or 8th, simple as that. And I know that's awful, but that's just the way I see it. But yeah, talk to me about tomorrow and what you think our chances are.
I'm looking forward to it. I always say that when we have an extended break in the international break, that I'm glad to see the back of them. But then when it gets towards the end of the international break and you've got that prospect of them coming back and watching them again, you're like, oh, I'm actually really excited. But it's hard, because obviously we had a bit of a pasting from them only recently, which is still, ingrained in the back of my mind. But obviously they're without Vardy, aren't they? And Ndidi as well. So
I forgot about that 4-2. Christ, yeah.
They do have. Yeah, sorry. They do have.
I was having a great day until that. Thanks, Rach.
Sorry. They do have key players that are out, but I'm obviously worried about Iheanacho, because he loves to bang in a goal against us. I'm excited. I think we will pull it through. I think with Bruno's contract extension, everyone coming back from a successful international break. Everyone coming back from a successful international break. I think they'll be revved up, and people will want to, call Marc on it and stamp their name into it. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good game, like a good contest. I don't think their form should be taken lightly, because I think when we underestimate opponents, that's when things go south. I'm expecting a good game, a close game, maybe 3-2 United. Yeah.
3-2. That's too many conceded for me, Rach, but a win's a win, I suppose.
Harry Maguire, got to expect a few.
Wow,
Sorry.
yeah, you've got a good point. Yeah, I did read today that obviously Vardy looks like he's still going to be out. I think he's been a huge miss for them. I mean, 30, whatever he is, old man now, 33 and above. Me, that is.
He's older than Cavani.
Is he? 35? Oh, Christ.
How weird is that?
I'm not as old as Vardy, so that's fortunate. But he really is their main man. And since he's been injured this season, Leicester have really struggled you can't be too reliant on one player, but we've done that for the last 2 years, you know what I mean? But anyway, Ndidi, Vardy, both looking out this tomorrow, which is obviously great for United. I don't think we have too many injury concerns. I think Varane's probably going to be ready for the game. I don't know who else was injured beforehand.
He was captain for France, and he was he did 83 minutes.
Yeah, good. Good. That was good to hear. I think he was going to be quite a pretty much a doubt for that game. So the fact that he obviously did 83 is boding well, and obviously great for us. Greg, do you share those thoughts? Are you less optimistic? Are you not going to concede in your score prediction?
No, we definitely will concede. But I wouldn't be surprised to see us conceding like early as well, just because like players for some
Greg,
reason.
I'm not going to watch it tomorrow, mate. At this rate.
See when we had, to be fair, I only remembered this afternoon that we had a game tomorrow, and that's why the show was because I was like, why is there a Leicester? When are we playing Leicester? And then I was like, oh, tomorrow night. All right, yeah, that's good.
Die-hard Man United fan, Greg.
Oh.
Hey, literally, I have to be told. My partner literally tells me the night before, "You know, we're going to United tomorrow," and I'm like,
Rach goes to the games and gets told that United are on. It's like, at least I live 250 miles away. I've got an excuse.
I have to align my weekend around it, and I still don't remember. But that's just me being me. So
there you go. We've got proper United fans on this channel.
Yep, and I'm the one who goes, "Just give me some damn football." It's sad to watch that England game, and it was actually relatively boring. So
typical. Yeah, go on, Greg.
Yeah.
You carry on, mate.
I think we'll be. I think we will concede, but hopefully we win. I don't really know what to expect. I never know because this seems like a really long international break, even for international breaks. Because I think we were meant to have a game like the week before. Is that right? We were meant to play Liverpool, but they were obviously in the
postponed.
The cup, so. Yeah, so we effectively went 3 weeks without a game, which doesn't ever really happen in the Premier League. So I don't know. It's really weird. Like, you would like to think that it means they'd be coming back like fit and refreshed, and obviously they've only gone away and played a couple of games each for their international teams. But you never know. Like, Brendan Rodgers loves beating United. He's just good at it, annoyingly. So I would be like they'll set up. They'll be hard to beat. I agree with Keen's comment that Fred's a better player than Ndidi. I said that last year. I'll go to the grave with that Fred's a better player than Ndidi.
You said that 6 months ago, did you?
I did say that 6 months ago.
Checking.
Yeah. In that chat, people were like, we should buy Ndidi. It's like, Ndidi's a tall Fred. I'd rather have Fred. He's as messy on the ball, but because he's big, he looks like elegant, but he's not. He's not tall. But I'll go with 2-1 to United, maybe. Yeah, I'll go 2-1. Bruno penalty. We're going to get a penalty in the league. There we go.
Oh, that'll boil some Liverpool piss, won't it? But Vicky, your thoughts on tomorrow and your score prediction, please.
So I think Maguire's going to have a reasonably good game. He's come back from England games. He's the only one that I've gone, oh yeah, he's actually played a good consistent amount of minutes for him through this season. I feel like he actually might even want to say that I've got a point to prove. You don't boo me. But if he does that and scores, I'm just going to cringe.
It's got a consolation to go 3-1 to Leicester, and you'll run the length of the pitch doing that as like we're 3-0 down. It's like,
yeah,
100%.
But I think that if that's in my head, that's going to happen. I feel like he's going to rest Tellers and play Shaw because Shaw scored the goal for England. So I'd rather have Tellers. Yeah, I'd rather have Tellers.
I'm going to quickly go around as well before we finish up and ask who your. I know you said Greg first goal scorer Leicester, but that aside for United, all your first goal scorers, Rach, you first.
I said 3-2, didn't I? I'll go Bruno 2, and you know what? I wouldn't put it past him. I'll go with Harry Maguire. Yeah, I genuinely wouldn't put it past him just to get one on his stupid big head. Yeah, Greg. I'll go 2 Bruno and 1 Maguire.
I'll go Sancho and Bruno.
Nice, 2-1.
I think Sancho will carry on his form. I think he'll prove as well that he should have been in that England squad because he absolutely should have been in that England squad.
It was.
I'm glad he didn't.
Amazed by that.
Oh yeah, if he's just got to stay fit for 3 weeks, like amazing,
Yeah,
but he should have been in that
exactly.
squad.
Yeah, unbelievable admission, quite frankly. Vicky, your first goal scorer. And what was your score? Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted you before, and I
2-1.
apologise for that.
It's all right. It's fine. I'm going 1-0 Varane header.
And there'd be a Varane header.
Right, you're gonna have a bet on that again, aren't you?
I've got to get my money back now.
Yeah.
It was actually
absolutely.
on my birthday when that goal was disallowed, by the way.
The one where Maguire blocked him.
Well, Maguire actually.
Yeah,
blocked the
he
runner.
scored the header. Maguire
Yeah,
blocked him. It was
Maguire
that
blocked
game.
the runner or something.
Yeah.
If he does it again, I'm going to climb through my TV and just go and
slap it.
I hope not. If it happens, I'm going to send help. Right, for me, I'm going to go against all of you and be a lot more optimistic, you miserable bastards, and say 3-1.
I almost went 3-1, but I've got to stop being such an optimistic.
No, join me today, Vicky. It's going to be 3-1. We need
Okay,
this
fine,
positivity.
3-1, and I reckon.
If that hat-trick of headers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
here we go.
No, I think because Cavani's being Cavani, that he's going to have to.
I think he's
be...
injured again. Actually, he is
Yeah,
injured.
yeah. He's just a drama.
Broken hair follicle or something like that.
They should just end his contract now. Just end the contract now.
Yeah.
Stop paying him. He doesn't want to be there, so now he's got probably a ache in his toe. So let's just I'm going to go for Ronaldo, Varane header, and then bugger it. I might as well just go for a Maguire header as well because his head's so big. That's the most useful part of him.
I wonder what the odds on that will be. I wonder what the odds on that would be, Vicky. Right, yeah. So for me, I'm gonna say Bruno or Sancho. To be honest, I'm gonna choose Bruno just because Greg said Sancho first, didn't you? Yeah. So no, just to cover all bases, so at least one of us will probably be right tomorrow. But we'll see.
It will be me.
Exactly. Well, let's hope so. We need you to start winning some money back. You must be in a huge deficit. There you go. Listen, guys, it's been a really good chat tonight. Actually, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very, very much for giving up your time. And it's Friday, man. I've had a day off today, and I keep thinking it's Sunday. But I'm going to wake up tomorrow thinking it's work and have that wonderful feeling that you get when it's a Saturday morning. But there you go. Anyway, listen, really appreciate the comments tonight. Great stuff. Really good conversation. Please like the video. I know it's a shameful plug, but it's very important to us. And if you're not subscribed, please do. It's really important to us. But as I said, have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Another shameless plug for you, actually, before I forget. Tomorrow night, Talk of the Devils, Wayne Barton's channel. I'm doing the hosting for Match Reaction on there, and it's always great fun. And really good stuff. So please, every one of you, and you guys as well, if you want something to watch after the game, please come across. And listen, we've got loads coming up over the next few days. Big stuff. We'll see you very soon.
Yeah, I'm doing.